Yo, this is BJ Couture with Men's Health with my 10-minute squat flow. The squat is arguably the most important exercise to master. I've created this flow to help improve ankle, knee, and hip mobility and your squat positioning and mechanics. You'll be more fit after you try this out. It's also a great way to warm up or just get loose anytime, anywhere. Exercise number 1, flexion gapping. Great for opening up the joint capsule of the knee. If you've ever had a knee surgery or an injury and you've lost flexion in the knee, you'll feel stiffness and pain when going deep, so this will help clear that up. That's why we start here. So take your left ankle, sandwich it between your right calf and hamstring, and then sink your body weight into the movement, and we're just gonna kind of floss side to side. We're gonna do a minute on your right side and a minute on your left. Great way to kind of open it up so that the knee is in full range before we get to these more squat-like positions. You're also mobilizing your high calf or gastroc. A lot of people get tightness behind the knee, a lot of running, jumping, those types of activities. This will help kind of smash into those tissues and loosen them up, improving range of motion and just overall wellness, if you will, all right? So we do 1 minute on each side, and then from there, we're gonna go right into the low lunge position. Low lunge, right? So if you really think about it, we're actually working on a single leg squat, one leg at a time. So the big focus here is we get down. There's so many ways we can use this shape. One of my favorite ways is you post up on that left foot and just work on using that elbow to push that knee out while keeping that foot flat. And this is great for mobilizing the adductor groin area. A lot of us struggle to get the knees out when we squat, which can put some pressure on the knees and limit range of motion. Also put your back in a bad position, so we can work on that. I can just kind of sink into what's called that Sphinx position. You gotta have a lot of good hip mobility here. Hip flexor, back leg is getting mobilized here too. I can add a rotation at the upper back. So there's really so many options with which I can kind of move in and out of these positions. You do 1 minute on each side. From there, we're gonna go to the lateral lunge position. So initially, we'll just start by kind of keeping that trail leg foot flat and just working on pushing that knee out. A little more of a hip hinge here, really getting into that long adductor. And then if I want to really increase the intensity of the stretch, I can let that trail leg toe come up and just sink in, and then I can add some rotation, some side to side action there. I can kind of sink into this a little bit more. I can rotate forward in. Again, there's really no right or wrong way as long as we're keeping good mechanics. And again, I love working that knee out. A minute on each side in the low lateral lunge position. From there, we go into our deep toe squat. So feet relatively close together. Unless you're a mobility mutant, those heels are probably not gonna get down to the ground. What we're doing is trying to load up those ankles into dorsiflexion. We're really winding the knee and hip into full flexion. That lower back will round a little bit, but I like to take some deep belly breaths and just sink into the movement. We're gonna do a minute in this position. I'll also even add some kind of side to side motion. You can do some toe raises to further mobilize those ankles. And again, the better you get at this position, the closer your heels get to the floor when the feet are this close, the easier it is to do deeper squatting or full range of motion squatting when your feet are in a regular stance. From there, we're gonna go to the hinge to squat. So this is great for winding up the hips and cueing position, really opening up the hamstrings. So we'll start with a wider stance. Get that back as flat as you can with the legs as straight as you can. And from there, I'm just going to take a deep inhale, exhale through the belly. And then I'm gonna pull my hips down using my elbows to kind of cue the knees out a little bit and get as upright as I can. Try to take a nice good breath in each position. I'm just gonna flow between these two positions for a minute. All right? Now from there, we go right into the knees out squat. So this is just working on improving that knee out position. I can do this a couple ways. One, go one arm at a time and just work on trying to extend that leg out without letting this toe excessively spin out. I can also fist my hands together and then push my knees out and work on my good deep belly breathing. So we're gonna do a minute in this position, and then we're gonna finish with passive to active. So what that means is I'm gonna just get down. I'm already kind of in that position. Sink down and just get completely relaxed. This is deep as you'll ever go. I'm down, and then from there, use your quads and glutes, turn on your core muscles, and lift to your functional squat position, typically parallel thigh position. Hold for 5 seconds, go back down passive. So for a minute, we're just gonna go between a passive hold and then an active hold, turning those muscles on and off. and then establishing a deep range of motion. So that's a 10-minute squat flow. I'd like you to finish if you have access to the bar. So squats compress the spine. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's always great to offset that with some decompression, and that's what hangs can do for you. So you're gonna go in a pull-up bar and accumulate just 1 or 2 minutes of dead hangs. I like to do these passively initially, really stretching the lats, crunch the abs, squeeze the glutes. You can set your feet on the floor to allow you to hang for longer. You make it harder by obviously elevating the legs, and we're gonna accumulate 2 minutes. This is a passive position where the shoulders are shrugged. You can also do some active hangs, really working that scapular stability. So the first one's more mobility, the second one's more strength and stability. Both are great. Do this, and it'll change your fitness. You'll feel better, and your squat game will go up big time. We'll see you next time.